Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Minister Will Cameron Jemerson, and I'm joined today by Pastor Tango Lemon, and we're so delighted that you're joining with us this evening. Pastor Lemon serves as our pastor of elders and ministers here at Salem Bible Church at our Atlanta campus. And Tango, it's always good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
For sure. Listen, we go way, way back.
Exactly.
Back to the days of, ministry of Proverbs and chosen generation. As I was preparing for this, I was reflecting back on all the different journeys that we've had been fortunate to experience together. I was thinking about, Ashley Jackson, now Banks. We were serving as, co-chairs of the Youth Advisory Board back in those days. And then you were elevated to be pastor of our children and youth ministry. Mm-hmm. You've been a single mom, got married. I remember you and Pastor Micah have been married. Then Wesley came along and changed your life again. Yes. Started all over again. And so it's just been really very nice to see how much you've grown spiritually into your pastoral role here at Salem and, doing great things at the city of Atlanta now. And so I'm just excited and thrilled to see that all God has in store for you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. And it's so exciting just to see you and your growth and your development. Mm-hmm. And just to see what God is doing in your life, because God is doing so much. And it does the heart good just to see those young people that, you once, ministered to and that you once, counseled and advised, and to see them just grow up to be young men and women that you're proud of. So it's just to see that every Sunday, it's just a joy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, joy. We're beyond just church family now. We are family.
We are family.
I was thinking about your 50th birthday party where I came and emceed and, working along with Carlton. So we are family for sure.
Oh, yes,
and,
definitely.
We're just excited for all that you're doing in ministry and looking forward to that. There's no one that can preach a sermon like Pastor Tango Lemon. You always take those good movies. I know you're a movie buff.
Oh, yes, definitely.
You can take the movie content, put it in with some scripture, and then make it and bring it home from there. There's nobody that can do it like you.
Oh, well, to God be the glory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to talk today a little bit about the Create tenet, which our pastors have appointed you to serve as the lead for our vision quest here at Salem Bible Church. So can you tell us a little bit about the importance of the Create tenet and how it really intertwines with the vision quest, and also how our congregation can learn from the plan element into the Create and how it will launch into our execute?
Okay, well, thank you, Cameron. Mm-hmm. Well, one thing is, I think that this whole Vision Quest 2023 allows us to dive deep within ourselves. Mm-hmm. So it allows us to be a little bit selfish, because oftentimes we look at, and everything around us, we're always so busy with just life. And so I think that this tenet allows me personally to be selfish with Tango. It allows me to focus on Tango. So my goals, so the plan team, they walk the congregation through the process of creating their SMART goals. Your goals, making them plain, making them simplified, goals that we can achieve, goals that we can see. So that's the educational piece. The Create team takes everything that you've learned in plan, using those SMART goals, and now drawing out your vision, making it plain so that you can see what God has put in your own heart for your particular life. And then the execute team will come along, and they will take what you've learned in both plan and create and show you and give you the resources needed in order to execute those desires that God has placed in your spirit for your particular life.
Absolutely. That's just so exciting, thinking of this journey throughout 2023. And it just makes me excited about what comes for 2024, right?
Exactly.
We're going through this journey now.
Yes.
It's a year-long journey, but planning and the intentionality of our vision and, planning it and creating it and executing it, that 2024 must have miracles and blessings ahead for us.
I'm looking forward to it. Yes. Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in thinking of this Vision Quest 2023, you talked about how important it is for you and how it's important for our congregation that's walking through this journey with us. What is the spiritual reference that really is the foundation of what we're doing throughout this year, that all of the pastoral team is really surfacing all of your activities around?
Okay, so scripture comes from Habakkuk 2:2, and it says, "The Lord answered." Then the Lord replied, "Write down the vision and make it plain upon tables, so that he may run with it. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false." So I guess what that's saying to me is that God already has a plan for our lives.
Absolutely.
That God has already, if we take this opportunity and use this time just to self-dive, just to self-reflect and just take that moment, just to see what God has for us and where God has brought us from. Where God has me today, right now in this particular place, and where God is taking me in the future. So being able to write out that plan, being able to draw out that vision and create, and then being able to execute that in the end with all of the resources, and then putting it up and watching the vision come to pass. Because when you write something down, when you plan it out, when you pray over it, then I promise you that God will move in that particular moment. If we're just faithful, if we just trust God, if we believe, in our lives what God can do, and just look back at what God has already done for us.
Already done.
It does my heart good because God is a good God. God is just so amazing.
Absolutely.
Even thinking about this process is amazing.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I think that it's just so important that we always go back to that foundation, which is God's word.
Exactly.
Which really gave the revelation to Senior Pastor and Pastor Emeritus on why we are embarking upon Vision Quest, and revisiting that scripture throughout the year is so important.
It is very
so
important.
Well, listen, Salem, as you're joining in with us this evening, please like, share, comment in the chat, and also share this on your page as well to let others know what we're doing here at Salem Bible Church as we're embarking upon our Vision Quest 2023. So we have a special treat for our congregation and our audience that's joining in with us online today, and we're titling this presentation, "The Sons of Salem." Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the Sons of Salem, what we wanted to do was, look at those young men who actually were a part of our youth church here at Salem Bible Church. And we just wanted, because we know that when they were younger, they had that opportunity to explore their goals and create their visions. So we wanted to share with the congregation, just looking at, where they came from, seeing them as young men or young boys running around the church. And now, some of them have their own business. Some of them are fathers, doing wonderful things in the community itself. And so we just wanted to take the time to highlight, just as an inspiration to others. It does not matter where you start.
Absolutely.
In this plan, in this quest of writing out your vision, it just matters that you start.
Absolutely. And these young men started years ago. Right here at Salem Bible Church, whether it was in Atlanta, down in the chapel, or in the fellowship hall and Chosen G, or on the other side was formerly known as, Lithonia.
Exactly.
Whether it was in the trailers, remember the days of the trailers on Panola Road, and moving over to the Chosen Generation Center on Panola Road as well.
Right. In the chapel service and all of that, just building, and all of that was important because it taught them how to get up. And, even if you were a little afraid, it taught you, that it was okay because you were in front of your church family.
Absolutely. And I think that there's one thing that I want to own in here is, thinking about Carlton, right? Your son, your first son, you were a single mother, right?
Yes.
And the importance of him getting up on Sunday mornings. He would come with you, and now I see Wesley. You bring Wesley with it every Sunday morning.
Every Sunday morning.
But it wasn't just coming to church. It was instilling those core Christian values. Can you talk a little bit about your son as a parent and how you've seen him evolve into a young man that he is, and how that ties into this Creative Vision Quest journey.
Well, I want to say that it definitely takes a whole church family, because, you know, I can remember days when Carlton would go down there, and I mean, every day I would have a report,
right.
you know, about, you know, his behavior,
Right.
not sitting still. And just to see, you know, that whole foundation of bringing your child to church and trusting other leaders. And, you know, I want to give kudos to all of the youth leaders.
Absolutely.
You know, the volunteers who work down in the youth church, because that's so important. Because, you know, when the children are down there, they get mentorship.
Absolutely.
When they get down there, you know, you never know what situation is going on at home. And a child needs a word, you know, and so I really appreciate that. You know, they do it through arts and craft. They do it through music and just drawing and letting the kids be kids. So I really, really appreciate that. And then Carlton talks about the fact that the church has been that second family. And I feel that as well. So, you know, on days, you know, when Carlton was behaving, you know, Miss McCullers or Miss Susie, you pull him, you know better.
That's right.
And I really appreciate that. And Boyd, you know, taking Carlton on and showing him how to do the video stuff, putting a camera in his hand when he was younger, and Chuck doing the exact same thing, teaching him the technology, showing him what he can do when he got older. And then that support from me as a parent. I mean, it's a blessing to be around other parents, you know, who are single families, single mothers, and just having that network to say, you know what, we can do it. You know, so just that encouragement to know that we can work through this together.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're just so proud of Carlton and everything that he's done. And
definitely.
You know, we think about, we're embarking upon Vision Quest this year in 2023, but Carlton's Vision Quest started so long ago. And that's what we're going to feature today, some of the young sons of Salem whose Vision Quest didn't start now.
Right.
It started a long time ago, and now they have an opportunity to revisit their vision as they're young men of Salem, right? So again, this presentation is entitled Sons of Salem, where we'll feature many young men of Salem. And so without further ado, if you don't mind, I'll take a moment to introduce 5 young men who, again, are members of Salem Bible Church that we're featuring today in our Sons of Salem presentation. First up, we'd like to welcome and introduce Reuben Barksdale. Reuben is a recent graduate of Morehouse College and serves as a host of the new Black Wall Street Market in Stonecrest, Georgia. He is also a praise and worship leader here in our music, worship, and arts ministry. He's a very talented young man in the theater, the arts, hosting, and motivational speaking. And, you know, follow Reuben on Instagram and social media. He's very active there at ReubenB333, where he shows all of his great work that he's doing in the community. So Reuben Barksdale, we're glad to have him with us for this presentation. Next up, we have Joshua Bell. Josh serves as a firefighter now, an EMT in the city of Atlanta. He serves a part of our armor bearer team, supporting Dr. Joseph L. Williams here at Salem Bible Church. One exciting thing that I'm excited about Josh, he has been working to launch a new clothing brand that I learned, Finesse and Survive, which is offering bold and modern styles for all sizes with premium fabrics and impeccable craftsmanship. Josh, on all of his gear, it has a logo there inspired by the SWATs. That resonates with me. You know, I'm a product of the SWATs as well. And so learn more about Josh's business by visiting www.finesseandsurvive.com or visit him on Instagram with Finesse and Survive. Next up, we have Dr. Timothy Holland. Tim is a graduate of Tuskegee University, and he's advanced forward to recently earning his doctoral degree in veterinary medicine and is now practicing as well. A little personal privilege here. Tim is one of those ice cold brothers of the first and the coldest fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
I know you had to put that in there.
Yes, that's right. 06 to the Good Brothers. And he's back home now again, you know, keeping our pets and our animals healthy. We're very proud of Tim. who is, forming a cure and assisting again in the veterinary medicine area. So congratulations, and glad to have Tim with us. Next up, we have Khalil Lumpkin. Khalil is a graduate of Savannah State University in mass communications. He's been a member of Salem for quite a long time, and he works now in the government and communications, and we've really seen him grow and develop and morph over time.
Exactly.
He's a very low-key guy, if you will.
Very low-key.
But working in communications out in front, and so we're proud to have Khalil joining with us in the conversation this evening. Also, we have your son, Carlton Sims, another one of those ice cold brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha. You see, we have a trend here going of Alphas being born and raised here in Salem Bible Church. But Carlton is continuing his educational pursuits. He was at Oglethorpe University. He's now transitioned over to Kennesaw State, right?
Yes,
Kennesaw State University. And Carlton is an avid businessman.
Oh, yes.
You mentioned before he's, I call him Boyd's shadow. Boyd has been training and mentoring him, and he now has his own company, serving lots of different churches and organizations and special events through the Sims Technical Corporation as well. So we're proud and delighted to have Carlton. Last and certainly not least, we have Kyle Williams, who's a member here at Salem Bible Church. Kyle is a recent new father, correct? And he is a CDL driver, has been really active, and is the son of Pastor Winford and Elder Debbie Williams at our Stonecrest campus. We're talking a little bit about goals, goal setting with these young men, and setting their goals and the achievements of their goals. Can you talk a little bit about and frame up the conversations where they can highlight their goals and their process of developing their goals and achieving their goals?
Okay. Well, some of them spoke on the fact that, they set their goals, but then they found as they went throughout life that their goals was either changed or modified, or some of them even talk about the fact that some of their goals failed. And so we talk about the fact of, when you set that goal, when you develop the vision, you know it, and you start out to walk and achieve those goals, what God has given you. And then you find in the midst of it that things change.
You got to pivot.
You got to pivot. You got to, and so, just seeing that and knowing that it's okay that when you set those various goals, that sometimes, life happens. And they may change as we get older.
Absolutely. And these are dynamic young men that have all been successful, reading their bios out. They all have business ventures or are pursuing educational pursuits or are, going up to the doctoral level, the highest level of their degrees. And so setting that foundation of setting a goal, recognizing that God must be first. In your goals, that he will give you the direction. And sometimes you have to pivot. Sometimes you have to pivot, thinking about, what all I wanted to be down the ministry of Proverbs, all the different things. I want to be a teacher. I want to be this. I want to be that. And now I'm something totally different. But the alignment spiritually that utilizes the spiritual gifts as a foundation, the spiritual gifts that they have, that is also being developed, but also is helping others. I see this trend when we talk about their bios is they're helping the community, they're helping animals, they're, working in higher education, that it's not all about them or about money or about success and fame, that there's a foundation of ministry that is at the core of their career.
And then many of them talked about the element of prayer. And how important it is to have that communication and that level of communication and trust in God, just through the avenue of just praying. And I think that that's important. A lot of times we don't realize how important it is to develop that faithful life of just praying each and every day, so that God could be with us in every area of our lives, so that we can live out those goals. And so that we can achieve those dreams that God has actually inspired us to have.
Absolutely. So let's take a moment and let's listen to some of the sons of Salem talk about their goals and their process of achieving them.
Originally just setting out a plan, just seeing what I like, seeing what fit for me, understanding what asset I was to whatever it was I was trying to apply myself to, and being the best at it.
I wouldn't say that there's a step to achieving your goal. I would say you set the goals and you work towards them, because no matter what you do, God is going to pivot you every single time. There's no framework on how to get to where you want to be. If you set goals, you set a standard, say that you want to get somewhere, work towards those. Let's say you want to be a doctor, well, get in the room with doctors. If you want to be a film editor like myself, get in the room with film editors. If you want to be a pastor, get in the room with other pastors. Suck up that knowledge and keep working and stay focused.
Steps I took to achieve my goals. The first step is messing up. I messed up 1,000 times, particularly when I was younger. And usually, people don't consider that, but I did, because I guess I grew up as like an old soul or whatever. So I was already making mistakes that I would probably make now at 24. It's been so many different trials and error when it comes to who I wanted to be, what I wanted to become, what I wanted to do. But I believe that the church really redirected that path.
I pray, get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and learn something new every day and try to put it towards my life.
So the biggest thing, when you're facing some bad times, and this is the goal you've prayed on, this is the goal you've wanted your whole life, and there's adversity that's standing in front of you. There's things that didn't quite go your way, or I stayed prayed up. I stayed in prayer. I asked those around me to pray. Now, my brothers, my church family, my parents, to pray for me and to keep me in their prayers. And when you have your back against the wall facing adversity, and especially something that you dreamed of since you were 5, keeping that same tenacity, even when you do fail, let that slip, let that come out of your mind. Don't dwell on it too long. Change what you need to change. Look back in retrospect. What could I have done better? What changes do I need to make to myself, my character, and make those adjustments? Because making those adjustments on the fly and having a short-term memory is probably the best thing that helped me, along with prayer, in terms of facing hard times, getting to my goal and to my career.
When you set a goal and you fail, the most important thing is to never give up, never quit. You always want to keep putting your best foot forward and keep an open mind. Before I became a CDL driver, I wanted to be a firefighter. And when I was in recruit school, I failed at that, let a couple people down, including myself. And I just, didn't get down, depressed. I just, kept standing tall and persevered, found a new career path, and attacked that like it was my last, my only option.
Sometimes, your worst times, it could be so heavy on you that you don't got no more energy to push. Someone got to be behind you to push. So the question is really, who helped me get through rough times? And I believe that was my mom, my family, my brothers, friends when they were there, when they was, how friends are, they come and go, seasons like leaves, you never know when they're falling off the tree and it's time for them to go. Everybody got a season. But my mom, she was there to push me, and then push, having a relationship with God. And I just have to go back to the stuff that I know that works for me, because that's just what it is.
Ask for advice, ask for help, reach out to people, stay connected with your church family, because a lot of opportunities in my life came from, people looking out for me in the church.
Wow. I told you we had some dynamic young men here at Salem Bible Church. That's some loaded answers there about their goals. And I just really appreciate vulnerability in Black men, oftentimes we think about, being strong and we don't have to express our feelings or our emotions, but we really saw the vulnerability that was expressed in them, and really the foundations that were set in their goal setting at not just now, but in the early age.
Yes. It was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to hear some of the stories, some of the things I didn't even know. Even when I look at my own son and some of the things that he mentioned, I never knew that until he had the opportunity to answer certain questions.
Exactly, and I'm just grateful for this platform, right?
Exactly.
Oftentimes we don't think about what it's like to be a black man in ministry or in the church or in America today, and being able to feature young, successful black men that are still trying to figure it out.
Exactly.
But they've already achieved success thus far in their, this 18 to 30-year-old time frame. And so God is good for sure.
God is definitely good. And I think that one thing that I did hear was the fact that it's okay to mess up, It's okay to mess up, but you got to know how to just get back up.
Get back up again. And so the other thing that is a theme of these 5 black men that you selected is that the church has been the core. The church has played a role in who they are today.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It's not just about coming on Sundays, but leaving on Sundays is something to carry on. And, thinking of, the scripture references, the things that, in the curriculum that sometimes we still go back to.
Exactly.
It was simplified at the 3rd grade level then, but sometimes those core foundational songs or scriptures or experiences can still carry them on. And so next we're going to hear from the young men about the pivotal role, I should say, pivotal role that the church has played in their lives as young men here at Salem Bible Church, and how the church is still an asset to the men that they are today.
Monetarily, when I was in high school, I ended up winning the Jasper Williams Scholarship. And from there, the most important aspect was the spiritual aspect of Salem Bible Church. Having a church family that constantly prays for you, keeps you in the forefront of their mind, to keep you in prayer. And I think that is the biggest advocate that I had throughout my journey through high school, undergrad, and professional school.
The church itself, has done more than I can even think. Just being that I grew up in the church is so many people that have just helped me in so many aspects of my life. Primarily for my career now, being that I'm a firefighter in Atlanta. Elder Byron Harper, let me say that. He has so many connections, so many people that he's connected to, that he just make one phone call and he gets the ball rolling for whatever it is you need. And I give that all to him primarily, but more so senior pastor, Pastor Joe, he's done more for me, not even on the physical aspect, but just so by giving me a word and the motivation and just having a role model to look at.
The church played a major role. Salem Bible Church is my family. At the end of the day, there's this old saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I was raised for the majority of my life by a single mother. Salem was the other parent. It took other men my age, men older than me, people like Chuck, Pastor Joe, Brian Harper, people like Mr. Barry Boyd, who all came in, and they were those father figures that I needed. And it wasn't just my mother. There were other mothers in the church like Miss Susie, Miss McCullers, all those individuals who came into my life, who poured knowledge, who poured passion, who poured love that I needed at the time.
The vision board party we had, let me see, I think Minister Latasha Davis, she held it, what was I? It was like in high school, but it was fantastic. I'm talking about, that was the best thing in the world that I could have done with my vision, because you put it on paper. Habakkuk 2 already say, write the vision, make it plain. He may run that readeth it upon tables, but that day, I literally put everything that I'm seeing manifest in my life right now on that board. Still have that board. I see it every day in my room. Even though I made multiple ones since, and that was like my main master board. So I mean, I decorated, put a little glitter on it, put vision, put the pictures I want, everything. And that, when you lay your vision out, I think that's what make it easier. You can see it. You can, it ain't no more planning. You like, it's in front of me. All I got to do is do it.
Listening to the lessons and the word being taught and preached by our pastors, and also the downstairs Chosen G pastors as well, really took those words and put those toward my life.
One more question that the young men have for the Sons of Salem.
Yes, and that question is, we just wanted to know, what advice would they give to other young men who are trying to achieve their goals and their visions? So we wanted to just hear from them as young men, and what advice do they have for us, as people who are trying to live out our visions and goals every day? So Cameron, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
I want to know, what advice, would you give to young men, who are on this journey called life? What advice would you give them to encourage them to move forward in whatever they're doing?
So the first thing I would say is, again, God first. God has to be
Yes.
first and foremost in your life. The other thing that has been important for me has been a firm foundation in education.
Oh, yes.
That everyone doesn't have to get a doctorate degree like Tim, but complete your education. There's power in being an educated black man. There were people that fought for us to have access and mobility and pathways to education. The other thing that I would say personally, as a young black man who I guess you can say has, achieved success at an early age, just turned 31, is there's some surrenderance that comes. Oftentimes we think that, it's step one, step two, step three, step four. Well, how do you navigate and do not experience anxiety when your step two may be 10 years off or 5 years off, or you may have some hurdles in between there to get to your step two. And so having that flexibility, being vulnerable, being aware. The other thing that I would also say that I have been shifting my focus and my passion in life is really mentoring other young men. And thinking of, I served as the SGA president, down in Valdosta. And so every SGA president since I was president now 10 years ago, I've had a personal relationship with them that they can call me at night, you have an issue, let's game plan. You want to talk to the president about this. And so I think it has been important, through building the pipeline of other black men. If you need $100, you can call on me. I'll cash app it to you to make it happen. But I want my money back. But also, I think the other thing is, my fraternity as well. Bringing in new members of, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, where they have really been able. They made a decision. They want to be an alpha, but also being an alpha, there are foundational principles that you must uphold. And so being a partner, a resource to others has really, really been a great journey for me to not just make it all about me, but being able to instill these principles that I've learned from Salem, that I've learned from other avenues into others.
Oh, wow, Salem. I told you we had wonderful sons here at Salem Bible Church who are doing wonderful things, who are doing awesome and amazing things. And we thank God for that.
Absolutely.
Just all that you're doing.
Absolutely.
We thank God for all of that.
Absolutely. So let's take a moment and listen to this final response as it relates to achieving goals and paying it forward to others.
Stay in prayer. Pray about your career. Pray about your goals. Pray about your journey, because you're going to have hills and valleys in your journey. Stay dedicated. Stay persistent. To someone in, educational field, change your study habits. They're not going to always be the same. Some what you did in high school might not work in undergrad, might not work in professional school. And the biggest thing I would say is also keep a strong group of friends, keep a circle that's tight around you, keep a circle that's very dedicated and like-minded to your success and to your goals, and also support them in theirs. So they'll probably be my biggest advocates.
Just keep an open mind, try different things. If you don't know what you want to do, like myself, just, try everything there is to try. If you fail, never give up, and just keep going until something sticks, and you'll find it. Just keep pushing.
Don't be afraid of change. Once you start something that don't work, go back to the drawing board. A lot of times I found myself trying to understand whether or not what I was doing was what I needed to do or what I wanted to do. But knowing that you can change things and still be successful is a big thing for me, more so to tell someone whenever they start out.
If you're trying to achieve your goals and dreams, if you have a mission and you're trying to get somewhere, I would tell you, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't think about the money. If you're living your passion and you're living by the word of God and you're doing what you love, money will always come. I would not stay focused on the money. I would stay steadfast and focused in on God. Don't be worried to take a step out on faith.
I would tell you right now, in this moment, man, woman, do your best and God will do the rest. Like I said, even if it's a little step, that little step might look little to others or me, but that step might be huge to God, and God will do the rest and he'll make it work for you.
For someone who's trying to achieve their goals and dreams, I would say jot down what it is you really want to do, the steps, and find out all the necessary steps it will take for you to get there. But that's number two. Number one is find and get closer to God.
So I just again want to say thank you to Pastor Tango and her team. And if you want to learn more about all the great things that we're doing here at Salem Bible Church, please visit us on our website at www.salembiblechurch.org, where you can register for our synagogue groups, register to be a part of our prayer partners, but also join us on social media. You can join us on Facebook at Salem Bible Ministries and on Instagram at Salem Bible Church. It's been a delight to be with you this evening, and I just want to applaud the young men, the sons of Salem Bible Church, for the great things that they have accomplished and the great things that God has in store for them. Shalom. Thanks for joining us. May his peace be with you.
Bye-bye.
Until we meet again.